Okay, so hey guys, if you read the title, yes, my mom's friend is really entitled, and I'll explain all this through the storytelling. But first, I'm going to do some little backstories and probably talk for a few minutes before the video actually starts. So my mom thinks that this woman basically like forces her way into people's lives, which it does seem like it does. So yeah. So I'm just gonna call her Jessie in this video because it rhymes with her name. So anyway, as you guys know, I don't like Jessie at all. Like to me she's a narcissist and she's very self-centered. And so I'm gonna tell you a story real quick before I get into like the update, because I said I was gonna update you guys on how she was like treating me and everything. So, my mom was telling me a story, like, this has been after she left. That's why I waited to film this video. I wanted to wait till she left so I could give you an update, and I just didn't want my mom around to hear it. But it seems like my mom is kind of, like, on my side now. But I'll explain all that in this video. So, this story she told me, this girl, Jessie, like, they were little girls. Like, she moved to my mom's school in 6th grade, right? And she's telling me this story that she was in 7th grade and this woman threw, like, her rings or something down the hallway. It was something she had. She couldn't quite remember because, like, being in 7th grade was so long ago for her. Not that she's old or anything, but she couldn't remember. And I'm like, shit, I can't remember half the stuff I did in 7th grade either. And that's been like a few years ago. Quite a few years ago. So she said like this woman like threw her shit down the corridor of their school and she kicked her. Which I thought was really funny. It just seems like this woman is just a tornado, like crashing through people's lives and stuff. But anyway, so I'll get to like how she treated me. So let's just talk. I'm sorry guys, I keep saying that, I don't know. So when she got here Thursday night, because she did come down actually for like a friend's funeral, which I do sympathize with that. Like, I'm not a monster. Like, I do sympathize. I felt bad that my mom and this woman and a few other people, like, they're all mutual friends. I did feel bad for them. I felt bad that they lost their friend, obviously, because I'm not a monster. So that Thursday night, she gets here. And I was surprised because, like, she's being really nice to me for some reason, which was kind of, like, weird. Obviously, it's fake nice because I can see right through her by now. But I was surprised that she was being nice and, like, gave me a hug and everything. She went to pet my cat, which y'all should know Raven. There's Raven. She went to pet my cat, and my cat instantly tried to bite her, so I was like, that probably is a sign that she's just pretending to be nice to people, like fake nice. So after a while, like, they go and sit in the den, and she's talking about like this trip she went on for like 2 hours because she's very self-absorbed and very selfish all the time. So she went in there, and like my mom did ask her about her, her trip that she had took. Like, she just got back from her cruise not that long ago. And, like, we had talked about, like, our vacation that we had right in front of her. And she never once asked my mom about this vacation. Not while I was in there, at least. So, like, she had been talking about this vacation for 2 hours. I went to the bathroom, and I came back, and she was still talking about it. So it was probably, like, maybe actually 3 hours she was talking about this trip. And my mom had to go to work the next day, and she had to work too. Like, she had to work here from home. She kept my mom up till like 2 in the morning talking, and I get like maybe they were trying to like reconnect because they haven't seen each other in forever. But I just felt like, like you knew she had to go to bed early. Like, why are you still talking to her? Like, she needs to go to sleep. So, yeah, she was talking to, like, almost 2 in the morning. And my dad had gone to bed already at this point. I was awake. I was thinking about going to bed myself because I just didn't want to deal with her, but I didn't. for my mom's sake, because I love my mother. I'd do anything for her. And I know in the past, like, I made a video, like, talking about how they might be, like, kind of mean, but I wasn't in the right headspace. But, like, my mom has also kind of, like, you know, like, put me down in the past, I guess, because of all these horrible people that are in her life. Well, not all of them are mean, but this person especially is mean. Jessie is mean. But anyway, I digress. So, like, yeah, so that's what we did Friday night. We just sat in the house, and she was talking about her vacation for 2.5 hours, or maybe 3 hours, I don't know, at this point. I went to bed, like, around 11-ish, 12-ish, something like that. And she kept my mom up, even though she knew she had to go to work the next morning. So, when I got up that morning, Friday morning, because she was going to work at our house while, like, do her job at our house, like, work from our house, I guess you could say, like, work from home, basically. Sorry, I kept repeating that. I just wanted to let you guys know, like, she was going to be in my house, okay? So, she was gone when I got up, thankfully. I came in here, got something to eat. I was sat on the swing for, like, a few hours, and she didn't come back to my house until, like, 12, so I'm like, thank God, because she had been kind of, like, I don't know if she meant to be rude, but she kind of came across as rude sometimes, but she definitely came across as self-centered. Like, I'm going to keep reiterating that point, because it's important. So, I was sitting in here, she got here at, like, 12, I opened the door for her, let her in, you know, and she's like, how are you? And I said, I'm good, how are you? And she's like, I'm okay, or whatever. And she went in there, she went into her room, I went into my room, because we have a guest bedroom, and obviously I have my bedroom, so I went in there. And I came out because I needed to get something, and she was sitting in our living room, right? So I asked her if she needed anything, and she's like, no, I'm good. So that was good. Like, she wasn't being rude to me at this point, which I'm surprised. So I spent pretty much most of my day in my room trying to not interact with her as much. And my cat seems to like a lot of people, but she apparently didn't like this person at all. Like, she didn't like Jessie at all. So my cat was, like, in my room with me, and so was our dog Randy. So even when Randy was kind of being mean to my cat stayed in the hallway because she didn't want to be around this person. And they say cats and dogs can sense this kind of stuff. You know, and my other dogs, like Roxy, she's scared of her own shadow, basically. So she wasn't going to hang around her. She was hiding in her room, which is right there. I usually film in it all the time, the computer room. So, yeah, Roxy didn't care for her. Like, Roxy's kind of shy anyway, so, yeah. Daisy loves everybody, but I could tell, like, even she really wasn't around this woman all that much. But she still, like, gave her love the night before, because Daisy just loves everybody. She's such a sweet dog. She's really old, too. But, like, after a while, I noticed, like, all my animals were either with me or they just didn't want to be around her. So I guess they kind of knew, like, she wasn't a nice person underneath, especially my cat. Over there, my cat knew. My cat knew for sure. Sorry, I keep moving you guys. But I had to let the dogs out because obviously they had to go to the bathroom. So I let them out, and she was, like, falling asleep, and she jolted awake. And I did feel bad for, like, waking her up. But later on, she told me, like, she needed to wake up because she needed to be doing her job, which is true. So that happened, and I let them out to go to the bathroom. I walked outside with them because I just didn't want to be around her, really. And then for the rest of the day, like, I pretty much just stayed in my room again. And then my mom got home and was talking to her. And I went outside to sit on the swing. I didn't know my mom was already home. I went outside and sat on the swing. And I tried to limit my time with this person because I don't like her. I'm not going to pretend I like her. I know she don't like me for whatever reason, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I like you. I'm gonna be nice to you, of course, but I'm not gonna pretend like I like you. So I went and sat on the swing, and my dad came home. And I walked in here with him, and we were talking a little bit, and then he started talking to them. And this woman was like, oh, I'm definitely judging you because you're drinking this wine or whatever. I think it was a joke, but it just came across as, like, rude, in my personal opinion. And especially since you're staying in our house, like, rent-free. Well, not rent-free, but you know what I mean. Like, you're staying in our house for free instead of going to a hotel and spending, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars a night. So, yeah, I felt that was kind of rude. So my dad goes and takes a shower. He was limiting his interaction with her too, and I'll explain, like, because I asked him a question, and I'll explain that later. Well, I went back outside and sat on the swing for a little bit longer. My earbuds were dying, so I came in, put them on the charger, and my dad had unfortunately forgot to, bring the taco stuff that he was supposed to bring home. Like, he forgot about it because he was going to make tacos that night, and he left. Or, like, he was, like, I guess, like, his friend had asked him to stay and have a beer with him after work. So he did. I thought it was maybe because he was at the bank, because he told me he was going to go to the bank, too. But anyway, I could hear it, like, my dad's truck, I could hear it over the noise of my music. I could hear his truck, and I could feel it coming down the road, so I knew it was him. Because his truck is loud. But anyway, so since my dad forgot the taco stuff, we ended up going to a little restaurant that's, like, near my small town. Like, there's, like, 2 small towns that are, like, right beside each other, basically. So, yeah, we went to this place in this really, really small town. It's, like, smaller than my small town. So we get there, and we order, sit down, whatever. She was talking to my mom and stuff, and then she was going to start another story, but my dad kind of started talking over her, which I do get was rude, but she was like, nuh-uh, I'm talking, which is really fucking rude in my opinion. But my dad, being such a good-natured person, he just laughed it off. Like, it didn't bother him, really, because he just didn't give a shit. And so we're sitting there eating and whatever. Afterwards, we end up leaving, and, she pays for her own stuff. My dad pays for us, because we're his family, of course. And so we get back home, and my mom wants to sit outside. This woman was such a bitch about it. She's like, oh, I'm not going to go sit outside. What did she say, like a indoor girly or something like that, or she's like, I'm a city gal, so I'm just gonna stay inside. Like, she's really rude about it to my mom. Like, she was rude to my mom for sure, and I'll get to the entitled part in a little bit. But, like, she was like, oh no, I don't want to sit outside, and that's okay, like, that's fine, but you don't have to be rude about it, you know what I mean? And so we go and sit outside because none of us want to be around her at this point. Like, I especially didn't want to be around her after she was being kind of bitchy to my mom. So we're sitting outside, and I will admit, I don't like to always sit outside, but sometimes I do get those, sometimes I do get the craving to go sit outside or sit on the swing and listen to my music. So we were talking to each other outside, well, mainly my mom and dad, because I was on the swinging and listening to my music and stuff. And I think, this was till Friday night, so yeah. So after a while, my dad walks in, he goes to bed, I stay on the swing, my mom goes in, and her and her friend are talking again. And they stayed up pretty late again. But it was a Friday night, so it didn't matter. But yeah, I could tell, she was still only talking about herself and stuff. And I was actually sitting in here listening to them talk for a little bit. And my mom walks in, and she's like, what are you listening to? And I'm like, oh, it's Charlotte Dobre. She's on YouTube or whatever. Because I love Charlotte Dobre, by the way. Sorry, I can't talk. I love her so much. I love her content. So my mom goes to the bathroom, and she gets my medicine, because I have to take like medicine before I go to bed and stuff. And I was in the bathroom when she was getting it. And I come out and sit here again, and my cat, she knocks over my mom's drink that she had. And I admit, I was kind of like, I didn't mean to be like a bitch to my mom. Like, I was like, she was like, are you cleaning it up? And I'm like, yes, I'm cleaning it up. Like, I didn't mean to say it like that. I didn't mean to be rude, because I'm not rude like that. Like, you have to push me really far to, you know, make me snap at you, make me be a bitch to you or something. So I was like, yes, I'm cleaning it up. And she's like, okay, thank you. And so I cleaned it up. I stayed up a little longer, and then I finally just went to bed because I was tired. And I was also, like, reading in my room, too. So, yeah. And she, you know, like, my mom's birthday had passed and my birthday had passed. She didn't even, like, mention any of that at all either. My mom's birthday is September 3rd. Mine is on the 12th, right? So, she didn't even wish us happy birthday or anything like that. She didn't really say much to us. It was all about her, basically. So, Saturday comes around. I get up, like, a little bit later because I was tired. I slept in quite a bit. Not too bad, because sometimes I could sleep into 12, but that day I got up at 11:43, and they were gone. I didn't know where they went, so I went outside and asked my dad, and he's like, oh, they went to brunch. I thought I was supposed to go with them, but that's okay. Like, I'm not entitled to go, but I thought I was going to go with them, you know. And, they get back a little while later. My dad went to the scrapyard because he's trying to avoid this woman as much as possible. So she had to go and meet a friend, okay? And this friend is actually a mutual friend of hers and my mom. And originally she didn't invite my mom at all. Like, very high school mean girl stuff like she was doing. And then later on she backtracked and like asked my mom if she wanted to go because she probably knew that my mom was upset, but didn't say anything about it because it's all about her. She's so self-centered. Well, their friend, we'll call her Macy. Like, I like this friend. Like, this friend is really sweet. Macy, and this isn't close to her name. I'm not going to invade her privacy by saying her name online. But Macy was, like, making an excuse why this person, Jessie, couldn't go to her house, and I'm like, well, maybe she figured out that Jessie isn't the nicest person, and that's why she doesn't want Jessie in her house. So Jessie went and met up with this friend, Macy, that we all know and love, because Macy's a sweetheart. But we don't get to see her all that much anymore because she's always busy doing other things. But yeah, she made an excuse like why she didn't want this person coming to her house. And, like, her excuse was, like, she was babysitting her daughter's dog. And her daughter's dog really doesn't like other people. It was just getting used to her, which could be true. It could be true. Like, I'm not saying that Macy was lying, but I feel like Macy just didn't want her in her house anyway, so. And, you know, like, my mom asked me later, like, why doesn't she ever go to Macy's house? Maybe because Macy won't let her stay there, because Macy probably sees right through her. She's a fake and a phony. I literally said that to my mom's face, but my mom didn't care at this point. So we go out, you know, and we go out to eat, my mom, dad, and I, because Macy came back, and she was getting ready to go to, like, this. We thought it was a shower, but it was actually an engagement party. So she goes to this engagement party, or whatever. And Roxy, it was so funny because she pooped, like, right where my mom's friend parked her car, where Jessie parked her car. And my mom was nice enough to go ahead and pick it up and stuff. And I would have just left it there because I'm a bitch like that. I'm petty. I mean, I'm not really a bitch, but I can be if you push me. And she had been, like, really rude to us the whole entire time she had been at our house. Or she was only talking about herself. Oh, I forgot to mention, in the car, like, she was saying, like, how she had moved. So I asked her, like, why she had moved, and she's like, because I can. I'm like, fine, be a bitch then. I didn't say that, I was thinking that. So, yeah, so she was like, because I can. Like, she was really rude about it, or whatever, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And she went on to explain, like, how she was renting the house that she was in, and now they bought this new house, and blah, 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 or whatever. So, we get back home from eating. We went to Cracker Barrel, by the way. I love Cracker Barrel. So, we went to Cracker Barrel, and we ate. We get back to our house, or we get back to our house, and we're sitting there talking, you know, just talking to each other, and we were, like, talking shit a little bit. And my mom tells me, okay, so this is where her friend is entitled. So her friend had made her pay for their dinner that night that she got into town. So they went to this place in my small town, and my mom had paid for her meal, right? And her friend was like, oh, I can Venmo you for the food. And my mom was like, no, that's okay. Because my mom is such a nice person like that. Sorry, I gotta plug my phone and it's dying because the story is long. I'm sorry, guys. This story is long. So, anyway, she got home, right? Or, well, actually, wait, hold on. My mom was saying, like, how she made her pay for their dinner that night. Like, well, she didn't make her, but she was like, she paid for it. And her friend did say, like, oh, I'll Venmo you. But Mama was like, no, that's okay. And then when they went to brunch that next morning, her friend didn't even offer to pay since my mom had paid for her dinner. The least she could have done is, like, paid for, you know, her breakfast or whatever, her brunch. But her friend expected my mom to pay for it. I'm like, no, she's not entitled to your money. And we were talking about that when she pulled up into the driveway. Like, this woman is not entitled to my mother's money. In fact, I feel like since my mom paid for her dinner that night before, or not Friday, but Thursday night, she should pay for her brunch because my mom had already paid for her. And she was telling me, like, her friend didn't even, like, pull out her wallet or offer to pay, which I found was, like, extremely disrespectful and extremely self-centered. Like, honestly, so selfish. And so, yeah, we were talking about that for a while, and I'm like, she's not entitled to your money. And my mom was like, well, you never offered to pay. I have paid for my mom's meals. I don't know what she's talking about, but anyway, that's not the point. But we're family, though, so anyway, I paid for her shit, and she's paid for for a lot of my shit, but we're family. So this woman is not family, and she expected my mom to pay for her dinner and her brunch. And the only reason she probably didn't make my mom pay for her at the other restaurant that we had went to Friday night is because my dad was there. But if I would have been there, I would have told this bitch to literally pay for her own shit. Like, my mom is not your ATM or whatever. You know what I mean? So I would have told her to pay for herself, honestly. But my mom was so nice, so she paid for their brunch. Well, we were sitting there still talking shit about her, and she pulls in the driveway, and my mom was like, crap, she's back already. Because at this point, my mom was tired of her shit. Honestly, my mom was so fucking sick of her at this point. So, she gets here, and my mom, like, was talking to her a little bit about this engagement party she went to. They go inside, and my mom comes out, and she's like, oh, she's gonna be joining us outside. And me and my dad were like, oh, great, you know. And I said something, and I'm like, oh, don't judge. My mom was like, don't judge her, because my mom was still trying to be nice. And I'm like, thinking in my head, bitch, she's been judging us the whole time she's been here. What do you mean? Like, I was like, I think I said, oh, I'm surprised she's coming outside. And my mom was like, don't judge her. But I'm like, she's been judging us the whole time. And my mom had, like, my mom put some decorations out already for Halloween and stuff. She didn't even comment on that. She didn't say anything about my mom's decorations. She didn't say, oh, that this is pretty or that's pretty. nothing like that. So we were all outside. She came outside. My dad stayed for like a few minutes. I don't even know like how long he was out there for. Like, he didn't want to stay much longer out there. I think he had like 2 drinks or something. I was drinking too because I wanted to get wasted. I didn't want to be around this person. Obviously I didn't, because we had to get up super early the next morning. So we're sitting there and my dad eventually leaves. And I had asked him, I'm like, do you actually like this friend? And my dad was like, I like her because she makes your mom happy, which basically to me it sounds like he doesn't really like her either. And I think my mom is starting to not like her as well because she was like so rude and selfish. So, yeah, so I asked him that and he's like, I only like her because she makes your mom happy. And that's what it basically sounded like he doesn't actually like her, which I already assumed he didn't like her because I don't like her. And I try to like everybody. I try to see the good in everybody, but I just don't like her. Like, I can't help it. So she comes out there and I have to go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom and I go in my room and get my earbuds, right? And so I go on the swing, and my swing does creak quite a bit, like it needs to be greased. But my mom and dad are used to it by now, even though I do know it's annoying for some people. Well, my mom gets up and goes to get a drink, and then her friend almost immediately gets up and follows her in the house. And she tells my mom, like, my swing is giving her a headache. And me and my mom, like, the next morning we were talking about it, I just rolled my eyes because I'm like, you're so selfish. Honestly, you're a horrible friend of my mom. You're just a horrible person in general, but still, you're a horrible person to my mom for sure. And, like, she had mentioned, like, the swing was annoying her or something. And she said she didn't want to ask me to stop swinging. And obviously I wasn't, because this is my fucking house. And she's just staying here just to stay here, you know, because she didn't want to pay for anything, it seems like. So I was sitting on the swing, and my mom was out, and she was pissed, like, at this point. She was so mad at her entitled friend, and like her friend was so selfish and so rude to everybody, especially my mom. And my mom is such a nice person. We told her she shouldn't have paid for this woman's food at all. Well, she was pissed, so she goes in the house, and I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm just afraid of like what's living in the dark, you know. Like, I don't like feeling like someone's watching me. Like, I felt like something was watching me out there. I don't know. It may just be my paranoia because I listened to too many scary stories and watched way too many horror movies. But I come inside and they're eating chips. So I go to the bathroom because I had to go again. And I come out and I get my chips and whatever. And my mom was like, did you wash your hands? Because Trusty's like, oh shit, I said her real name. Oh well, it don't matter. I said, she was like, because this person thinks like you may not wash your hands. And she did kind of defend me at this point, like my mom's friend. She's like, oh, well, she just came out of the bathroom. I see that she washes her hands or whatever the fuck. And she takes a bite of this one, like I think it was like a salsa dip or something. And she's like, ooh, I really don't like the aftertaste. I was very rude about it. And my mom was like, that's okay. I really like it. And everybody's taste is different, don't get me wrong. But it was like, if you don't like it, you don't have to be rude and say like you don't like it. You can just be like, oh, I don't really like this. Or just keep it to yourself or something. And so, thankfully she went to bed. And my mom like had given all her like, not all of her supplies, but like some stuff like she had needed or something. So she would feel more comfortable, and, you know, like, my mom wouldn't have this woman walking into her room asking for her shit or whatever. So she made sure she had everything she needed, basically. And so she goes to bed, and then my mom and I go to bed after we take our vitamins and medicine and whatever. And, The next morning, she had gotten up really early. I don't even know. I think she would have left without saying goodbye if my mom hadn't have been up already. Because we had to get up early to go to do a church thing or whatever. So she said goodbye to her, and that was that. But when I got in the car that morning, we were talking crap about her, and she was like telling me like how, pissed she was because this friend was so selfish, didn't care about my mom's feelings whatsoever. How my mom wanted her to sit outside and like compromise basically, because we had been sitting in the house for this woman this whole time. The least she could have done is gone outside one time, like at least, or like twice, and actually stayed outside. You know what I mean? Because in friendships, you have to compromise sometimes. Like, I may not be the most outdoorsy type, but I still go sit outside with my mom. And I told her that too. I told her that to my mom. I was like, at least I sat outside. And she's like, right, you did. So anyway, yeah, we were like kind of talking crap about her in the car on the way to our little church event we had. And I literally told Dad that story about like how she got a headache from my swing or whatever. And my dad was just rolling her eyes, not her eyes, his eyes. Sorry, the story is so long. And he just like, she's always been that way. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it okay for her to treat people the way she treats them. And like we heard like her one son, because she has two sons, her one son moved to North Carolina even though he could work from home. And it just makes me wonder like, maybe he moved away because he didn't like her either. Like he didn't like his mother either. And I remember like vaguely, I remember her like screaming at her boys for like the smallest thing, which was really disgusting in my opinion. Like she's just a horrid woman. But yeah, that's my mom's entitled friend, because she felt entitled to my mom's money. And my mom jokingly said like if we ever go and visit her, or she goes and visits her, she expects Jessie to pay for her food or whatever, because she paid for her food while she was down here. Even though I know my mother probably wouldn't make her pay for anything. Like, wouldn't make her pay for her food or whatever. Because she's not entitled like her friend is. Anyway, I'm sorry that this video is so long. I had to get a lot off my chest. She wasn't she wasn't always rude to me. She was mainly rude to my mom and all that stuff. And I just didn't like that. Like, my dad didn't like it either. And like I said, the only reason she probably didn't make my mom or anyone pay for her on that Friday is because my dad was there. And you know what? If she was a nice person, and she would have asked me nicely, like, hey, can you stop swinging? It's bothering me. I probably would have said yes. But since she's not a nice person, I don't even care. Like, I was petty. I'm like, I'm not getting off the swing, bitch. Like, no, not at all. And she never asked me, but if she would have, like, asked me to get off the swing, I would have been like, no, it's my swing. No, it's my house. No. And you're in my house disrespecting me, disrespecting my mother, disrespecting my dad. Like, you're just a horrible person at the end of the day. Oh, I thought I had something else, but I remembered something and then I forgot it again. Oh, actually, I do remember it. Like, when my dad was leaving to go to bed, my mom was like, oh, it's not you. I promise. He always does that to everybody. And I was thinking, bitch, it is because of you. You're just a nasty person and no one wants to be around you because you're horrible to everyone, And I was surprised, like, she even asked me how I was doing at all because she's been so self-centered. And my mom was telling me, like, all she wanted to talk about was her work. Like, she was building herself up like she was some important person when I'm sure most people don't even know who the fuck she is. Like, you're not important at all, in my opinion. Like, you may have a job, like, with whoever, I don't even know, like, somebody important in your area, but you're not important here. Like, no one knows who you are unless they met you in person. So, yeah, I just feel like my mom's friend, Macy, and her have finally seen the person that she really is, has seen that she's a monster and she's rude and mean and just all that. she's generally a mean girl. Like, she was doing a lot of mean girl stuff, honestly. But anyway, that's the story of my entitled friend. It's kind of like an update as well. I'm sorry it's so long. I'm so tired after telling it. Like, my throat is, like, closing up a little bit because it's a long story. But anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.